Welcome back everyone. Today is our third video for building this monster here, our lovely exploratory vehicle. So last time we arrived to this point and I was talking about adjusting this thing so that, well, it looks a bit more like this, at least as a main shape. If you don't know how we arrived at this, then check out my previous videos so that you see how we arrived at this. Today, main goal would be to, well, get close to the shapes that we have here at the top, with probably a kind of a fillet here, and generally speaking, yeah, creating the overall shape to be more or less like our object in here. And yeah, we will continue adding more details, more features to it. And if you would check my previous videos, you would know already that the goal is to get to something similar to this. But of course, I will delete some bits that, well, don't make sense, like these things in the front, some cables on the exterior of the vehicle. Stuff like this I will eliminate, but yeah, the goal is to apply our knowledge to create some interesting shapes and to really look nice and to render it afterwards. Right, so without talking much about the overview, so last time we were here, yeah, and I remember I finished it with SolidWorks blocked. It managed to unblock itself, which is great. And yeah, let's start to do some things. Let's look over the image and try to understand a little bit what's going on. So please forgive my drawing. I'm drawing with I will draw with mouse with the mouse, so it's not going to look really nice, but it will be sufficient to for us to understand what's going on. So what do we miss? So definitely we miss this kind of things in here, and we will miss this kind of stuff in here. Yeah, so we have two critical things that we miss. This chamfer here that should be uh, bigger or wider, and this step in here that is right, that it should be as well taller. Another thing that we miss, it's a smoother transition, or let's say the fillet that we have in here. It should be way smoother than it is in here. Yeah. So I would say three main things that we need to address today. Now, I would say that the easiest thing to solve would be the fillet. But the idea behind all this, or the idea behind of everything that we've done until now, is that we have created some sort of a system that we can modify easily so we can arrive to our goal. That was the whole reason of spending, I think, almost 4 hours, no, almost 3 hours or over 2 hours to create a system that will allow us to modify or to alter this object within limits, of course, but still to be able to do it and to adapt. Yeah. So we don't have to keep reconstructing geometry every time we see that something is not good, especially given that we have one sketch done by AI, nothing from the side, nothing from the top to guide us. So it's very, very critical to build such a system so that we can modify easily. Right, so then let's start with the fillet. Or should we? No, let's start with the fillet. I think that would be the easiest. So we have a fillet that is at 300 millimeters right now. So if we try somewhere around 500 millimeters, as you can see, it starts already to update. I don't think I will keep it at 500, so I will try 700. At some point it will break, of course. So 700, it would be our limit. Now look, we could, or I could get into it, and yeah, it's clearly not even 600, so 500 will be our limit. We could get into it and modify. Actually, I think we can modify it. Yeah, if I remember correctly. So if we apply a freeform modifier to it, and we say this is movable, this is in contact. I think, yeah, I think if we keep everything in contact, but we put this one to be movable, then we can modify both tangency handles that we have in here. Oops, yeah, Solidworks that it does lose the selection. So we can modify the tangent handles in there. We don't need a lot, we need just slightly, and it should keep the volume nicely. Now, even more, I'm just pressing Ctrl Z right now. So even more, if I am, oh, just want to be sure, yeah. So if I am keeping everything in curvature in here, oops, just to, and that should be contact indeed. That is correct. And yeah, and movable. As you can see, it will allow me to modify only one tangent handle in here, which is still useful in the end, because we can always modify the way that it is fading towards the other one. Yeah. However, because this may not be what we need, and because I'm looking into here and I don't need necessarily such a degree of control, I would just leave it as it is at 500 millimeters as a fillet. I think I went back to 300. Too many Control Z's. Okay, so I'm quite alright with it, especially given that we are quite loose in what we try to achieve. Right, so we don't know exactly what is happening in this area here, so we will be kind of free to do whatever we please. The only difference is that we kind of need to make sure that this height in here is quite what we need. So let's try to get that one done. I remember that the height was governed by an extrude. Yes, so I should have an extrude from which I created this fillet in here. So let's see, we have the fillet. So I should be able to see parents and children. So one of them, there you go. So it's extrude 30. All right. Oops, not help. Okay, extrude 30. Anyway, so then I have the sketch in here. I will go into the side view of it. And I'm going to, I could just modify the sketch. Yeah, so I'm going to modify the sketch that I have in here, and I need to make sure that I have enough distance that is wide enough. It doesn't need to be to look exactly like that, but the idea is to be closer to what we have in there. So I would say that this kind of width I'm okay with. It's not perfect, but we don't know the dimensions, we don't have all the views to work with anyway. So definitely this kind of view is this kind of height in here is what we need. But because of that, we have this in here, that this fillet in here, yeah, that it goes quite close towards this fillet. So that's not necessarily what we wanted to have. So if I'm going in here, is extrude number 2. And if I'm modifying this, so that means I should be able to now modify this curve. So if it is too close, then the angle of this curve should be a little bit more abrupt. Okay, not now, please, Mr. Bit Defender. Right, so it should be a bit more abrupt. So now by modifying the angle, our fillet is not going so much into this front fillet in here. And by the way, when you will have the light hitting the object, actually, you will not perceive this fillet starting from this edge here. So I would say I'm okay with that, with what I have in there. Everything is kind of loose anyway, so as long as we achieve something similar to what we have in here, we should be good to go. Now, the third thing that I have, yeah, is this one in here. Okay, let's name it 3. All right, so that would be the third thing that we have. Now, there will be 2 solutions. Either we increase the offset, but that means that we start eating even more from this fillet in here, and I don't like what's happening in here. I don't like this kind of shape. I would like to have a clean shape, not something that is like this. That's kind of a nonsense. Right, so we can increase the offset because all these surfaces for doing the chamfer are governed by an offset as an origin, an extrude and an offset. Or we can modify the angle. The original surface that we extruded in the past had an angle to it. So I remember that it was I just applied 45 degrees, so we should be able to, let me see, can I arrive to it into the, so I have a surface fill, yeah, so we should be able to just reduce the angle of it, but I want to arrive to, okay, so it does arrive to, okay, so if I'm saying in here, parent, then, oh, interesting, I cannot see, I have a 3D sketch, that's, yeah, I know that, so then, yeah, so okay, so I found the offset, so we are at offset 13, so somewhere, offset 13, there you go. Yeah, so I'm having the 2 offsets that I have in here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. 2 days passed, and there you go. I struggle to remember. So I'm having the 2 offsets in here, which obviously would be their inputs would be the extrudes. So I have this extrude in here. So I should be able to see an angle to it. Oh no, that's an extension. This is the extrude. Yeah, good. So I have this extrude in here, 45 degrees. I would say let's reduce it towards 35 degrees. So 35 degrees, and of course it's eating more from what I have in here, but that's fine because then I can reduce the offset. Okay, so 35 degrees, I'm not sure, maybe 30 degrees would be a good idea. Maybe we can keep it at 30 degrees because at the end of the day we can always go back and modify it. That's why we have constructed our system in here, so we can modify this without a problem. So 30 degrees on the other surface as well, and there you go. That's cool. So we start to have that wider kind of chamfer in here. That's good. Now, if I'm offsetting these surfaces back so that I can reduce this kind of so that I can reduce this what's happening in here at the corner, then I'm going to reduce the chamfer. Yeah, so I don't quite like that. So then the only option that is remaining in here would be to modify the offset of this thing. So I would say, I don't know, 180 millimeters. Okay, 180 is not quite want to reduce it completely, so I would say 220 maybe. Okay, so maybe instead of having it at 35 degrees, maybe I can at 30 degrees, maybe I can put it at 35 instead of that. So it's you know, a combination between the two. Okay, so that gave us this up to here. Now I could create fillets separately and blend them, but that's quite a lot of work for such a geometry, so I don't want that kind of work. I just realize these two curves in here that are going away from each other, so probably we will need to address this to be a little bit more than to be less visible. But anyway, so just continuing with what we have, I don't like the fact that is finishing in here. I don't want to work so hard for such a surface. So then what can we do is, yeah, increasing, yeah, so it will be all three options adjusted so that it is not going to affect us that much. So 150, I would say in here, maybe 130. So just enough to avoid this in here. 130. Okay, so now it finishes in here, which is what I wanted. I have more or less a wide chamfer in here, not as wide as maybe we wanted. I'm just thinking, could I maybe make it wider? By instead of increasing the angle, instead of decreasing the angle, maybe increasing it. No, I could. So the angle is good, but then, yeah, I think we can actually do it. So by decreasing the angle, like 25, for example. I see. So it's the other way around. Okay, so by increasing the angle like 65 there, and then making bigger offset, yeah, it will give us what we need. So now instead of 130, 160. There you go. So 160. Okay, so now I think we are exaggerating. Let's see, where is my extrude? So this one, so 65 is a bit too much, from 45 to 65, so 20 degrees, so no. How about 55? Yeah, so 55 looks a lot more like it. And now, well, it's a matter of choice in the end. So now this one I can keep it as it is, and then I can keep this one as it is now, or I can do something slightly different. Yeah, let's do something a little bit different. So instead of, I think I was having 55. Was I having 55? Let me see. Yeah, so 55. We can keep this one at 45, for example. Not even sure which one it is. I think, yeah. So we can keep this one at 45. Let's see. There you go. Now, of course, these things don't align anymore. So that means that I am forced to increase the offset. Probably 150. So I may go back to whatever I was having before. I want this two to match a little bit better so that I work less later. So 150, 140. Okay, 145 then. Okay. Yeah, somewhere right there in the middle. And there you go. So now they would be at a different angle value. Yeah. So in this way, it does look wider here. It does look slightly wider there, just like as it would be in the picture. Of course, now we need to adjust some things here at the back. But that is the power of creating a system, as I was showing in my previous videos, especially when you do not have a lot of sketches to support the work that you're doing. And honestly, if you receive from a client, from just a regular normal client that will require a small task, a small job for a product to be done in 3D, for example, if you receive like 3 sketches, front, side, and top, you should consider yourself lucky. Most of the clients and anyone really, unless you put a lot of work into all this, you wouldn't have more than one sketch, one sketch, one idea, one drawing, and you will have to do from that a 3D model. So that given how it is, I would say having a system like this is imperative. Right, so what was at the back? At the back, we don't know because it's free for interpretation. That's fine. But I will want to have something different than whatever I have in the front. So yeah, I will come back to this later. I may still not like what's happening here, but anyway. So what I need at the back, first I want to look and see around the angle. Yeah, okay, kind of all right. Yes, I'm on a surface in here, so it's not going to work very well. All right, so let me modify this in here. I don't want just slightly more, and I think I want something like that, and I want to extend it just in case. Okay, right. So at the back, I wanted to have something different, maybe a bit weird happening so that I can experiment a little bit. All right. So that would be the first steps, the main kind of object in here. Now we need to create the feature in this feature in here for the window, which will be in continuation of these surfaces that we created earlier. So that would be one thing. I will do the cuts later on. So the cuts will go like being the last things to do. So we have this. Yeah, and yeah, so I think we can start constructing this kind of feature for the window in here. Again, just big, or just checking the time. Yeah, so we have maximum half an hour at our disposal, or yeah, in that half an hour, we can first look at how we can manage the fillet in here, and then look at this feature in here. What should we do? I think we can actually construct them separately, given that we don't know yet. No, I don't know. I will not construct them separately. That will give us a lot more work afterwards. I would say let's continue. So let's not do the fillet, not just yet, because we still need to understand a lot more the general surfaces before going into fillets. After we do the fillets, I don't want to lose time and to go back and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't have a system for the fillets, so, so once we do the fillet, it's kind of done. Right. Well, it's not necessarily a big deal. It would be a simple shape. Yeah, we just create some extrudes, and that's kind of it, really. I mean, we will just need to use the same things that we have in here, maybe, and yeah, and we will not, we will have to use without the fillets, so that it will flow continuously. Yeah. So then let's erase. If we erase the fillets, can we do it without? Yeah, I think we can, because anyway, this would be like that. Yep. So we can always remove all these, just build the other feature that we need, and then make the cut. Yeah. So I don't want to mingle the fillets around. Okay, so then we have this feature that is continuing from this surface. So then we can use this surface in here as the surface for this. Yeah, so okay, I will try to create in here a little bit of a schematic. So we have, well, actually is in the opposite direction in our case. So we have some of these surfaces in here that will continue. We will use them as an input, and then new surfaces all the way to the bottom, and of course here at the end some new surfaces that will have to the same surfaces as before that will have to continue, which is this surface that we had previously. Okay, that's good, that's good. And we don't need it to be raised a lot from the original surface. Okay, so we had this, and then we had the freeform. I just want to make sure, actually, we can go to surface bodies, and I should have in there no, I don't have it. Okay, no problem. So we will make an offset of that original surface, yeah? So we should be a surface 5, freeform 5. I think I can say freeform 5, roll back to freeform 5, which, okay, so freeform 5 is my surface. Yes, it is. So annoying that it does not select it like that. Anyway, so let's make an offset of the freeform 5, 10 millimeters. It's a large vehicle, but fine. Okay, just checking. Yeah, it is in here. Come on, offset 35. Where are you? Okay, let's make a filter offset. It's a filter in the whole assembly because I'm not in part mode. Okay, 35. Cool. So if I'm hiding offset 35, yeah, I'm okay. All right. So now, so how I was thinking to do it, yeah, I was thinking to use the offset that I have in here, blend it with everything that I have. Okay, so that means I would delete those fillets in there. Actually, I don't think I needed to remove the fillets. I could just keep the fillets in place because at the end of the day, I'm using it like this. Just thinking what would be the best way of building this. Yeah, I can always keep the fillets, most probably. Yeah. Anyway, well, it's not something that I kind of planned for it. It's not pre-recorded, so don't imagine everything is perfect. Right, where am I? So I should be somewhere around here. And I want a 3D sketch, and I will want a spline on surface. Yes. And again, I'm looking. Okay, so it's something like that. Somewhere I don't see it, but if I'm hiding the surface, I will be able to see it. Okay, and something like this. It doesn't really matter. I just want to have all the points on the surface. Okay. So now if I'm hiding this, okay, so it is exactly here on the edge of that fillet. So if I'm moving this somewhere here, they don't necessarily need to match perfectly, but I can always project that or convert entities, make it to be construction line. Yeah, construction geometry, good. And now I should be able to Okay, smart dimension. Okay, that's interesting. Because I am in a 3D sketch on a surface, so it may not know. Yeah, it may not know what I am doing here. Okay, let's read this. Can I? Okay, so I can have an intersection curve. I don't really want that. Can I maybe have a smart dimension then? Yeah, so I have to, okay. So theoretically, I will have to find a way to project onto the surface, which would be as an intersection with others. Well, it's too much hassle for such a small thing anyway. So what I'm going to do, oops, I'm just going to match it just to be somewhere around there. Okay. And I can see that would be somewhere around where the wheel, just after the wheel would start as a dimension. So it wouldn't be so far back. So our little buggy in here may be too short. Let's see. Let's put this somewhere. Okay, so it works enough. Let's put this somewhere in here. And just putting these points to be on more or less wherever I believe they should be. Okay, so it would be clearly there, somewhere where this fillet would start. Yeah, so it would be somewhere here. So clearly is shorter, not so high. I'm just checking to see where my fillet is starting. That's the drawback of having these surfaces untrimmed, isn't it? Is not very easy to see things. But anyway, that's why we construct everything in such a way so we can adjust afterwards. Now, I do see these as being at the same angles, but this I see it a little bit more like that. Okay. So now, just readjusting as I don't have trackball rotation. So now what do I want? Well, now we want to extrude this along a plane. Just going to the part I want to be sure that I'm having the right plane. Okay. Come on. There, good. Do I want it at an angle? I would say yes, if possible. I don't know, 5 degrees, for example. Do I want 2 directions? Yes, I do. Yeah, and now he will say he cannot do the things. Okay, so if I say draft outward and like that, it still didn't do the other part of it, right? It didn't, no. Okay, well, we can do only as much as we can do. So I would say no direction 2, we leave it at 5 degrees, and we can always extend this thing anyway. We'll have to match it with yeah, because it's on the surface we cannot really match it so easily. Right, not a problem. We can always readjust the sketch after everything is trimmed, really, so that shouldn't be a problem. So I do this. And then I am going to trim everything with the feature. Yes. So then, yes, indeed, I need to extend both sides to make sure that does intersect with the other object. There you go. So that's cool. I just want to make sure that is same surface. Yep, that's good. So now I'm having this. I'm having that offset. Let's see how it is. Okay, so here I'm having two of them like that. Yeah, okay. So let's do the other two. By the way, I just realized that, well, actually, I can always put that one low because I'm going to have another set of surfaces in there. Or I could use the same sketch. Now let's try. Let's use the same sketch. And it should be on the same surface, which is that offset 35. This one, yeah. So let's put it back more or less where it was. Let's make another spline on surface. I don't know, up to here. I will adjust it afterwards. And then what do we have? So then we have this in line with the other. Okay. That's not too bad. So let's put again spline on surface and again like this. Okay, good. So now it is 5 degrees all round, but we need to extend it. So I will go to this extension here and select the other edges that we have in here. Oops. Solidworks trackball rotation, please implement that. Okay. So now I have this. Just checking the time. Okay, so roughly 15 minutes left. So I can just start making the trims so that I can use with this. Now the only thing that I'm not very sure about is if I want to keep this separately from that chamfer here or not. And I think I don't. I want to use this for which I was creating the chamfer before, to use it only after I'm building the other feature. Now that I think about, I think is better that way. And if I do it like that, yeah, then I can use these surfaces in here as an input for it. Okay, let's do something because let's do something first. There are many ways. I'm just thinking which one would be the one that will make us work less, right? So let's do the trim between, yeah, mutual between this one and this one remove, well, remove this and remove this. Yeah, okay. So that would make this. So now if I am, there you go, 10, yeah, so 10 millimeters in here. I don't like the fact that afterwards, yeah, I'm going to have a step. So definitely I don't want that. So I will just keep 0 for this and just make a copy. Okay. So now they would be all at the same level as surface. That's the reason why they appear like that. Okay. Okay. So I kind of start to see where I'm going with this. Which interestingly, and I didn't test Solidworks to see if the surfaces are one on top of the other, being identical, is he able to recognize what's going on? It would be very interesting to see. Or no point to even try to do that, because we can always use this fillet surface that we created before as an input to just cut through. Let's try the first idea, because I'm curious about how Solidworks thinks about this stuff. So I'm having the same kind of surface, and now I will want all this in here as an offset so that I can cut through it. So I can do that, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if it will recognize it. Okay, but actually we do have a step in there. Okay, well then, let's make the step, but let's make it more obvious. So instead of 10 millimeters, let's try to put like 50. Yeah, so 50 millimeters. And now, yep, let's use all these inputs that we have in here. Oh, my bad. We should be able to create offsets from these and use them. Yeah, okay. I don't want to extract and extend. That's a bad idea. Okay. So, yeah, fine. All right, let's make the offsets then. So I'm going up to here and I say, okay, roll back. I want an offset of this. So initially I will put an offset of 10 millimeters. Actually, let's put an offset like 100 millimeters just to make sure that we see it correctly. And where is the offset? That is the offset, isn't it? So I think it is, yes, it's on the wrong side. Okay, so the opposite direction. Yeah. Next surface, next freeform. All right, let's go in here. Let's make the offset another 100. Yep, good. So that's that. And then what do I want? Do I want it as well from here? Yeah, let's try to do that. But for that, we need to see which freeform it is. Yeah, and it is that one in there. So if I go into the freeform one, let's make an offset 100, and that's it. Now let's roll back, roll to the end, and I should have all the other offsets for me ready to use. Good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep them at 100 just to make sure that I can see them well. And finally I can yeah, trim them together and all that. I'm looking in here, 100 is too much. I still want to have intersection. So I'm going to use them just to make sure that I can see them. In the end, they would be offsets in 0. Okay. So let's make the trim, remove this and this. The other trim, I'm not doing the fillets because I want to see how it will work without, if SolidWorks is clever enough to recognize the geometries without problems after making the fields, if he is able to join them together, being basically the same operation. Okay, so let's join this trim surface that we created earlier with this feature that we have in here. And what do we need to eliminate? Well, we need to eliminate that and this. Okay, so now we have this feature in here done without any fillets. Okay, so what do we need? We need to intersect it with this, with the parent object, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I will want to use another offset of the surface, and I just want to use it, or actually, it will be easier to just use an extrude, isn't it? So I'm going to do a sketch on the top plane with a curve somewhere where it should intersect the whatever we did before, and sketch plane offset, I will want it as an offset. Come on. No, I don't want a second. No direction too. I just want an offset. Okay, offset 500, I guess. Yeah, fine. So offset 500. Yeah, and I moved it. So let's move it back. I don't need to be in a sketch to move it back, by the way. I did explain what are the buttons that you need to press to be able to see how you can move things inside of a sketch without being with the sketch active. Go check it out, please. Um, it would help me to grow my YouTube channel. All right, so now let's make a trim between these and the plane that I just created, and something doesn't work. What doesn't work? Let's see. Is it maybe too short? Manifold surfaces. Well, don't think so. Okay, let's move this a little bit. Oh, I moved something different. Just pressing Ctrl Z to make sure that nothing is wrong in here. Okay, so I'm moving it closer. Let's hope that he knows what I'm trying to do. Okay, so it should be between these and these, and the things that I want to remove. Okay, so I'm keep having the manifold thing. Okay, I'm going to do a Ctrl Z to eliminate this completely. Right, so what problem do I have? Ah, I see what problem I have. Okay, so the problem I have is that this one in here is not long enough to intersect. Okay, so something happened in here because I am seeing this the other way around. It's probably when I dragged some things around. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's go forward with it. Okay, so now if I am building that sketch on the top plane, I shouldn't have deleted it, but anyway. Just going to make an extrude up to the top, and now it should work. No, still manifold something. Ah, well, yeah, because now, despite I modified that, the plane is not there anymore. Okay, right, so let's do some things. Okay, so I want between this and this, and now it should be. Okay, so again, okay, so somewhere indeed we have a problem with joining bodies for some reason, and we will have to see. Well, and I can see in here it does look like they are not joined for some reason. Okay, so then how about we try to, yeah, so I can see a gap. So somewhere we have a gap. I don't remember. Do I have an option to heal a surface? I think I remember something like heal surface and trim extend. Let's see if we have any healing. Mesh modeling. Maybe I remember from a different software. I don't see any healing. That's the reason why I usually don't like to make the sketches like that. So let's try. I like to create surface by surface rather than a sketch. So let's try 3 degrees instead to see if it will. Yeah, it's not from 3 degrees. I can see we have 2 edges in here. It doesn't know what to do with them. So let's go again and see. This is correct. This trim is correct. I see. This trim is also correct. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And now, got it. So let's make a clear section. So I want this one's removed, this one removed, and that one removed. Removed. Good. So now we should be all right. Let's see Solidworks. Are you happy with it? No, still not happy. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. And I can see he is identifying gaps from those extrudes. Okay, so then, so we don't lose much time for such things. Let's not apply any draft. Of course, now it's detecting things differently, but or as I can see here, it's getting confused by it because of the draft. Or I can say maybe 1 degree. I just don't want it completely flat. So let's see, at 1 degrees. There you go. So at 1 degree, it does identify everything joined together nicely. All right, lesson learned. If you have drafts that are not 1 degree, then it would be far better to make the surfaces separately instead of one sketch at an angle, with an extrude at an angle. So now it should say that it is all good, and it is indeed all good. So all I did until now was just so that I am going to combine it with the other body or solid that I have. But there is one problem, however, the fact that this one is completely open and this body that I have in here is not. So when I will try to cut it out, it's not going to work very well. So what I can do is to cut this one as well with the same plane that I used in there. So I was having this cut at the bottom, isn't it? So I can use this as a standard, cut this, not trim tool, my bad. This is the trim tool, so I would cut this and cut this, yeah. So all of them cut by this. now we should be good to go to, we may be good to go, we shall see. Okay, so then I go and say mutual trim between this and this. Okay, and with a bit of luck, we should be able to eliminate the surfaces that we don't need anymore. So which surfaces we don't need? So we don't need that one inside, right? The step in here is good, so we keep the step. It may not work, by the way. So SolidWorks may not know how to deal with surfaces that are identical. But let's try. So we don't need that one in here either. And I think that's kind of it, isn't it? So these are the only ones that we don't need. So right now we have a shell with a step and everything done correctly. Now, moment of truth, and I'm going to save this thing first. Or save all. Yeah, I'm going to save this because I'm not sure how SolidWorks will behave. So I had this in here at an offset of 20. So now I will want it to be at an offset of 0. Come on. And it does not allow me. So I will go and force it out to be at 20. Right, where are my offsets? So I'm having one in here. Any other offsets? Where is the one for this one in here? Ah, 41, yeah. So I'm going to say in here 0. What does it say? Let's see if SolidWorks will remember. It does not remember when it does the cut. There you go. So SolidWorks will say, I'm so sorry, but you know, I cannot really do it like that. I cannot do the trim. Okay. So SolidWorks does not have the ability to see surfaces that are on top of each other and consider them identical. Now is known. Not too much of a big deal. It's just that it will force us to do some more other operations on top of whatever we did until now. So, you know, for example, just going to cut this once more with the surfaces that we had in here and so on and so forth. But that's not necessarily a problem. Now, thinking about it, instead of doing what we did before and cutting other surfaces again and all that, we can always use this as an input to cut, isn't it? In the main body. We could also treat them as solids, and then SolidWorks should be forced to recognize, but that will take a lot of time. That's fine. So for tonight, because anyway it's the time to go. Let's make the joint, the trim between the two. I can We can always continue next time about with the surface, with having this at the same value and all that. But I can at least do the trim and show you how it goes with those chamfers in there, so that you can see how it looks. All right. So if we are now just imagining that this would be at the same, or actually, yeah, let's put them at the same, let's put them in 0, and I will find a way to force it out to be, I think the trim is, no, it's fine, yeah, okay. So it should allow me to go in 0. Yeah, so I will keep them in here, at least that one to 0, and yeah, and do the fillets to these ones back again. Okay, so between this and that, how much? 50 millimeters, 100 maybe, somewhere like that. Yeah, I deleted them. I'm still thinking if I need them, if well, like that as fillets, or if I want them as trims. Probably by continuing doing the thing, we will figure it out. But yeah, anyway, so if I am using the same surface in here, the same things, I should be able to, okay, so clear selection. If I'm having the last fillet selected and I say offset, it should offset everything. So yes, it does. So offset in 0, which is copy in Solidworks. So now I'm going to finally trim these things together. So for example, this with this, and remove this and that. And now I am going to do exactly the same for this. And if they would be solids, I have a very good feeling that SolidWorks would consider both surfaces as one. But because we are in having them as surfaces, SolidWorks will see them as, will give us some issues. So anyway, now given that we have everything created in here properly, then we can always go and again readjust things around, just like we were doing in the past. And that's the power of having a system done in such a way so that you can go and be flexible and adjust things. Is really, really nice to have that, especially dealing with designs that are not very well defined from the beginning. So yeah, if I'm making a symmetry right now, just to have it as a last thing done, we should be just fine. Just searching for symmetry. Yeah, for mirror is not symmetry. So bodies to mirror this, and right plane, it will be this, and that's kind of it. So that would be our little buggy. So the next video will discuss about how to how to deal with the surfaces that would be at the same level and identical. Probably I will see which solutions would be the best to not lose the time. And yeah, I hope it was useful. I shall see you next time, and please like and subscribe. It does help me a lot. Enjoy your evening. Bye.